We're out here dunking on the troll again in Lord of the Rings Home, and today I've got two special treats for those of you who just can't get enough of Chapter 2 of the Mines of Moria raid. The first is a brand new infographic, and the second is a raid run that I think you'll want to stick around for. I was doing Chapter 2 of the raid a few weeks ago, and as I was scrolling through my roster looking at different ways that I could break my raid teams up, I got to thinking about how it would be nice to have all of the key abilities, banes, and boons for this chapter, ways that you can manipulate the troll and control him, keep the momentum stacks down, or keep them from happening at all, and get counterattack off of the troll. It got me to thinking, it would be really nice if we had an infographic that had all that information in one place. Well, here's your exclusive first look at the Chapter 2 infographic. I've worked really hard on this graphic over the last few days, and I've been fortunate enough to collaborate on this graphic or the information included in it with some of the bigger whales in the game, as well as a few other really good raiders. So big shout out to them, and a special thanks to them for all of their help. I've tried to structure this guide in a way that it's easy for you to understand, and it's segmented so that you can reference back to it very quickly as you're doing your raid runs. As with the farming guide, let's take a look at each individual section, and I'll give you my thoughts on sort of how to use the guide. And now for the nice to have abilities, I won't spend too much time here, but Dispel is a very important mechanic for this chapter. Being able to either, and it's not on here, but like Bilbo's ability to steal a boon. I believe also Goblin Chef Kraska is able to steal boons as well. Those characters are sort of going to be incredibly useful, but these Dispel characters, very useful for this chapter because they're able to get those counterattack stacks to go away. TM reduction. These characters can be quite useful when either A, you don't have someone on the team who can slow, or B, even if you do, maybe the slow didn't go off and you want to try to keep the run going, or if it's taking you longer than you thought to kill the ads off. And not only that for topple phase, but really just, pre-topple, post-topple, whatever. For this chapter in general, being able to stop the troll from taking turns as fast as he normally would is incredibly important. So the TM reduction abilities, such as Robel's Basic or Robel's Special 2, very, very good. And then the other ability that I think is probably, in a lot of cases, the difference between a failed run and a maxed run on the higher difficulties is Weak-Minded. And Weak-Minded is an ability that reduces the resistance of a character. So it makes it less important for you to have high focus stats, and probably makes it easier for a team that has only good focus, so the 2400, 2800, or 3200 focus. It allows those characters to excel against the troll post-topple more than they would if you didn't have that weak-minded Bane. Now, I have included Stun, Expose, Disrupted, and Haste here. I don't think that Stun, Expose, and Disrupted are the kinds of abilities that are super impactful, mainly because there aren't many characters who can do it, but I do think that they're worth including here. In particular, Expose for teams that don't have a lot of bleed, poison, or burn abilities. It makes it a lot easier for them to get the troll down during the topple phase. In particular for teams that don't have a slow, such as, again, Road to Rivendell as an example here. It just makes it a lot easier to get the troll down quickly during the topple phase. But Expose is, I think, a really good ability to have. Nice to have, not must have. And then for Haste, I just want to note here, Haste can be incredibly important. Road to Rivendell, you're going to have to use it for teams like Isengard and Haradrim. It's just going to make it that much easier for you to cycle through and deal with the troll or deal with the ads. So for the tier list, I tried to do something a little bit different. I didn't want to back myself into a corner where I was subjectively ranking these characters and teams. I wanted to have an objective measurement to apply to it. I think this tier list mimics a lot of the raid data that I personally have seen, as well as some of the raid data that has been shared with me. A quick note on the scoring and ranking. I've included this ability points column, and what that's doing, hopefully I have my math right here, is it's adding up every time a character appears in one of these must-have or nice-to-have ability slots. It's adding those numbers up. So you can see Thorin's Company has 11 ability points, and it's S+ tier. Great Goblin lead goblins with Udurs. It's going to have 8 ability points. Haradrim with 10, Isengard with 9, Mordor with 7. You get the idea down the list. Now, a couple of notes I'll make here. There are some hybrid teams out there that would probably move a little bit higher up this list. I know that people are running some sort of hybrid Fellowship Rohan teams out there now with Gandalf, and I think those perform really well. And you can sort of outkick your coverage, I should say. You see that Rivendell doesn't have a ton of ability points, but they still perform really well in the raid, especially if you use Gandalf or Strider as the 5th, because you gain one of those must-have abilities. You gain a burn, which makes it way easier for you to push them through the chapter. I did include Bolg lead Misty Mountain here. I want to point out that that team does not have any goblins on it. My understanding is that people have successfully gotten 1.5 million or higher with Bolg lead Misty Mountain, including goblins. Again, I think tier lists are a little bit subjective. There's probably going to be somebody out there who says, but Quantum, I can do XYZ score with Dol Guldur. Why do you have them as a C? Or, but Quantum, my Rangers suck. Why do you have them as an A? There's always going to be this level of subjectivity, and everyone's roster is different. I put a lot of work into reaching out to people, asking about these scores. I've had a decent amount of whales confirm that these teams are capable of sort of their ranking on this list. And I also do think that those ability points weigh into this a lot. And that leads me into the next segment of this video, which is a Haradrim run that I was able to achieve after I made my Chapter 2 video a few days ago. So let's jump over to the raid runs. I've got a couple of runs here for you. You can see from this screen, I was doing a little bit of testing and I kept pushing. I was getting around 700K every time. And I made some adjustments to my team. I worked on the glyphs a little bit, got some focus on Bekaloo, Wubete, and Robel, and pushed back into these couple of runs here and was finally able to get 1.5 million. Now, you will note that it is sort of difficult. You do have, especially with my roster, I'm working with G8 level 60 characters, but I only have Wubete and Bekaloo at 7 stars. My Robel and Yef2 are at 6 stars, and my Tabeb is still at 5 stars. So, and then the abilities, I believe, most of these characters only have 1, in some cases 2 tier 6 abilities. A lot of abilities are still at tier 4. So keep that in mind. I'm definitely pushing a lot harder than most people do to get to a 1.5 million run. I don't think that this is going to be consistent for me. At least I'm going to have to work every raid now to get to the 1.5. But it definitely is possible. Starting out, we do go ahead and capitalize on the fact that Tabeb has Limbus Glyph to grant some haste to the team. We're just trying to apply as many stacks of poison as we can. You can see we're using Robel's basic ability to try to get that turn meter reduction. We do get a few off in this run. And that's one of those things you're sort of hoping that every 3 or 4 times Robel uses her passive, or excuse me, her basic, that she's getting off the turn meter reduction. In this run, we were able to get the slow down. We're working on taking out the 2 ads. We're using a lot of basic abilities. We get another turn meter reduction on the troll. And then we're just trying to kill the troll before he takes his turn. Pretty simple setup. Now here, I believe I went a little bit too early on cleansing with Bekaloo because she just took her turn there and she lost her concentration. So that was definitely maybe not a misplay, but just one of those things where you take a calculated risk and it doesn't play out for you. You can see I busted out some cooldowns. I did try to apply and successfully applied slow to the troll. I'm trying to just get as much damage out as possible on him and try to keep those poison stacks on him. And he was able to cleanse everything, and everything spiraled out of control. So we just sort of went ahead and cut our losses there. Here we go, same setup. Notice I'm not as concerned with using Yeftu's heavy damage abilities, as Special 1 and Special 2. Everyone else, I'm typically trying to just use their basics. Robel's basic is actually very important to this strategy. So it's kind of nice that you really, it actually makes more sense to use Bekaloo and Robel's basics. To the point where you shouldn't even use Bekaloo's Special 2 ability at all during this fight. Okay, so we got the ads down. We're focusing back to the troll. Very nice. So you want to get that sliver of health down as low as you can before you take Bekaloo's turn. We cleanse here, and the troll comes back up, and all 3 characters that were granted the concentration buff still have it. We're able to apply a lot of buffs there, or banes there, which is very nice. When the troll cleansed, there were still a few poison stacks left, and now we're able to comfortably control those poison stacks. We've got the momentum under control. And it just really spirals in your favor at this point. We get down to those 3 slivers. You feel pretty good about the fact that you're going to go into that second topple. And I think we got favorable ads here with the Firestarter and Mangler. They're usually easy to control. We land the slow. And now we are just trying to get sustained, get some of that health back. We've taken out these ads. We got plenty of time. The turn meter is creeping up here, so I was really hoping to get that turn meter reduction from Robel. Now we are having to use some of our damage dealing abilities to ensure that we get through the topple, but we do. And from this point, it's really just kind of hoping that you can keep momentum under control long enough to get to the 1.5. I know I was elated just to get to the 1.3 to get through that second topple. We're just going to use every single thing we have. We throw it all at him. And we finished pretty comfortably here. You've got a decent amount of poison stacks on him. It's kind of crazy. We're at 37, 39 stacks. And we got him in a topple again. So there's the 1.5 million. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found the Chapter 2 guide helpful. If you would like a copy, it will be available for free on my Discord. You can find the link to my Discord server in the description below. Quantum out.